Boom. We're live.
Boom.
We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and I think we're about to go live on Theta TV for the first time. It looks like it's actually working too, which is great. So if you're on Theta TV, hit us up in the comments on Theta TV. I've got it up over here, and earn some T fuel because that's what they do over there. What's up, John?
So much is going on, and I hope everyone earns a whole lot of T fuel watching this live stream, because I actually think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that they're paying you for your engagement, and I think that's actually a sorely missed piece of a lot of different experiences out there. So I applaud them with what they're doing.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm excited to go back and watch that and check it out. And hopefully do a little bit more with those guys. They've got a great setup. I think what they're doing and the way they incentivize and they reward people to be on and basically just do what they do, watch streams and engage. And they've done some cool stuff with SpaceX and some of the space launches that are out there. And that's pretty epic. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as it goes forward. But today we want to talk about coins. We've had a lot of pretty solid interviews. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Some pretty cool people that we had on. We had some folks from PonyX. We've had some motivational speakers on. We've had all sorts of people, and we've got a couple more live streams this week. We've got one coming up with UTrust, and I think that's Wednesday, and then Thursday we've got the guys from DAO Maker coming on, which I think that's Friday for them. They're across the world, so we're getting it all coordinated, but. Today we just wanted to talk about some coins.
Yeah, and the why is that we're on Twitter. I think what we've grown from like 1,000 followers to almost 20,000 since January 1st. So it's been crazy. We get 100 requests a day, and so what we do a lot of times is post. Hey, what are you looking at? We'll post a few. But we just wanted to try and do it live today. Talk about a few things because we got a lot of requests today. So. In fact, there's even more in the comments already. So the good news is we're already going to cover several of those. We're going to talk about Swipe. We're going to talk about Polkadot. We'll see what we can do about anything else if we have time today. So could we check DEC? Yeah, we'll take a look. We'll see what we got there. So anyone, feel free to put your requests in the comments, and we'll see what we can get to today. But let me share my screen here. Let me know when that's up, Joe.
You're up.
Cool. So to start, wanted to just show our markets page and talk through, what's hot, what's going on right now. So our markets page is obviously out of 24 hours, as it states at the top of the page. And I have the page sorted. You can sort by any of these columns at the top. I have it sorted by alt rank. What it does is it looks at the price performance relative to Bitcoin. So is it beating Bitcoin or not? So we even calculate Bitcoin as part of the alt rank. Believe it or not, we get that question a lot. Like, why do you do that? Well, it's sort of like the zero. It's sort of like if Bitcoin is ranking number one, it means that it's beating every single alt out there from every perspective. And so that's really helpful to know, because if you're trying to earn more Bitcoin or you're looking for projects that are continually standing out, it's important to look at. And so we just posted it on our Twitter. But the crazy thing is that here's Polkadot. Polkadot's number one. What that means is that it's outperforming Bitcoin today. You can see it's up 18.84%. It also means that social volume, social engagement, sentiment, all of these social metrics are on fire. They're doing really well. And so what's crazy about that is, let me load up that tab. We just have a day of data. I mean, we literally just added this, not even 20, was it maybe about 24 hours ago, I guess?
Yeah, so, we just added it.
So, we don't even know where this is going to end up. We know that the activity is increasing. So we're seeing this is hourly data. So we're seeing 182, 184, 128 posts per hour. When we look at the engagement on those posts, looking at this spike here, I mean, we're talking almost 1 million engagements. So what that means is that when someone posts and then there's a lot of comments and retweets and likes and all that engagement, We measure all of that. We also measure it on Reddit. We look at YouTube as well, and Medium. And so we look at all that engagement, and we can tell, wow, it's really high. So this is insane for a coin that we've just added. And the price is also moving up. I mean, this actually needs to be refreshed because it's set here for a while. But it's now 465. And what's completely amazing about that is this is, I think at this point, we don't even have complete market cap data that we're confident in yet. So we'll see this market cap move from NA to the actual market cap. But this is about the 7th biggest project in the market. And that's like unbelievable considering this has just been added to a few exchanges. This is run by individuals like Gavin Wood, who was the CTO of Ethereum. And I just pulled up their site here. What's crazy is they're pulling out a lot of these different elements like true interoperability, scalability, forkless security. And when you look at some of the projects, like we also added Mantra DAO yesterday. And, the idea there is it could work across multiple chains. These guys aren't looking to, say, be a Ethereum killer. They're looking to play nicely and scale the crypto ecosystem. So really interesting to see. I just say we've never seen something move up so quickly after it being launched and added. And I don't mean from a price perspective. I mean from a social one. So the community is really excited about this one. So we'll be watching, something to check out. So another thing that I wanted to cover because it's coin of the day today is Stellar. So we've had a lot of requests around Stellar and why is it coin of the day? It's coin of the day because, well, for starters, any coin can't be coin of the day more than once a month. And there is a threshold of eligibility. So we're not pulling in coins that have like zero social activity or anything like that. And so we're pulling these coins in that have standout price and social activity. When we look over the last 3 months, it might not be so evident when you look at the chart, although we are starting to really obviously have a breakout here of things like 2,765 mentions a day. And that's up from like 600, 800. So that's a lot. It's healthy. You see the last time that the price moved up, we also had a rapid increase in social activity. But what might not be clear is that over the last 3 months, this activity relative to the previous 3 months is up 26.6%. We see all of the metrics really up, everything, at a time when, over the 3-month period, price is also up 55%. And I'll say we also have had requests to look at Stellar versus XRP. And when we look at, I pulled up 6 months on comparison. When we look at that, Stellar's up 72% during that period of time versus Ripple's up 21%. Now, obviously, I should say XRP.
Yeah, easy there.
I know, right? Here we go. We're going to get roasted. XRP is about $13 billion market cap versus a $2 billion market cap. So Stellar's a much smaller project, and both are doing well from a social perspective. Obviously XRP is a heck of a lot bigger. During this period of time, they've had almost 700,000 mentions, while Twitter's had about 138,000. We even see there's more on YouTube, and there's more engagement. There's almost 1 billion. There's over 1 billion engagements for XRP versus.
What time period is this, John, again?
This is a 6-month time period.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So I mean, relatively speaking, it's good to know. It's not to say this project's better than that project. This is like super helpful to know. Well, great that Stellar has 138,000 tweets that have mentioned it, but how does it stack up? How does it stack up competitively? If we were to swap this to, say, Bitcoin, in fact, why don't we do that? You'd see like, hey, where does it stack up versus Bitcoin during this period of time? Well, you would have made more money in Stellar. And Bitcoin, obviously a way bigger project. 18.2 million mentions versus 137,000. And we're seeing these numbers increase a lot too. So helpful to know just where something is. Like, is that a lot or not? So, yeah. So what else is hot on here? So we look through this. There's obviously a lot of DeFi projects going on. When we typically see what's happening, I mean, like Aave, yes, yet again, up another 24%, Yearn, 10%, Acropolis 20, almost 22%. Unbelievable. It's been like endless the last several months. One of those projects that I want to talk about that isn't necessarily a DeFi lending project at all, but it does have a really fascinating business model. It's almost like, Swipe here, which just announced that they're coming to the US. When you look at what they're doing, they've got an app that's a lot like, it kind of feels like it's an exchange meets Apple Pay, meets a credit card that they have in the system. They're going to offer feeless trading within the app. And what's really cool is like their Swipe token, which is also about to go into to offer staking with Binance, and I believe through their wallet as well. If you can get a credit card through this, similar to like Crypto.com, and on it, the rewards come back to you in Bitcoin that go into that wallet. And I think it's up to like 4% back. So no, this is not a commercial for Swipe, just saying what we've read. But it's really, really cool what they're doing. And you can see what's happening with their token here. I mean, over the last 3 months, it's up 538%. We've seen social engagement go absolutely bananas here. Like looking at these metrics here, social volumes at 340%, social engagements at 537%. And when you look at this, I bet you if you looked at the last month, most of this is over this period of time. Yeah, it's basically kind of over the last month and a half-ish, like in the latter half here, that it's moved up a lot. I mean, if you look at the community itself, we've had obviously some big announcement here that drove 16,000 individual accounts to post about it one day. Still super, super high. I mean, if I just looked at Sunday, there was 2,394 individuals talking about Swipe that posted multiple times. Look at this on May 26th, there were 77. So, I mean, all the way through here in the 20s, the 30s, 100, and then all of a sudden we go crazy. So this is really, really big growth. So this is something to certainly watch.
I think just looking at that again, Jon, it looks like, I mean, they are using Coinbase for custody. They've got, it says they've got like the $100 million insurance, BitGo, like instant exchanges. So like they're doing instant swap. So convert and swap from one currency to another with instant settlement. I mean, they're not in the US yet, right?
No, but I noticed you can download the app now. And I did download it and I set up some stuff. I haven't actually done anything with it. You have to KYC.
Right.
There's a few nuances in there, like, like some subtle UX improvements that they need to look at, like speed. There's some things were a little slow for me. When they give you a confirmation code, they don't give you there's basically, Apple allows you to say, oh, this is your 6-digit code. You can tap it and then it fills in the fields. They don't do things like that. So I think there's some things they can improve, but the premise of what they're going to offer, which is almost like an Apple Pay for crypto to a degree, it feels like, is really quite cool. So I'm really curious to see, where this nets out. I mean, when you look at something with $190 million market cap, offering a solution like what they're going to offer, to me, that I'm not saying buy or sell, I'm saying that's pretty low. It's very low. So we'll see where this nets out. And I'd even say, why not? Why don't we compare this to Crypto.com?
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a good.
Which is a great project. I think what Crypto.com has done is amazing. And if we look at 6 months here, they're both growing. In fact, Crypto.com's done great, but
yeah,
the market cap, 3.4 billion versus 192 million. And I think both are probably justified. This is a justifiable market cap, but this is cheap. It looks cheap. And if you come down here, the social activity for Swipe is higher than Crypto.com on every aspect. I mean, like the Reddit, I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe this isn't a focus yet, but when you look at the social engagement, it's more than double Crypto.com. Yeah. When you look at the URLs that are shared here, looks like, I think Crypto.com has a lot more URL sharing and things like that, but there is more. But I look at this number of tweets, and that's just a genuine metric of like interest. And wow, I mean, we're talking a big disparity here. So if this is remotely successful from here, if it's anything like a babycrypto.com in any manner, this is really, really inexpensive. So something to watch considering the community is really, really excited about it. Moving on. Unless you'd like to add anything more on Swipe, Joe.
I want to, and I want to talk about it more, but I also, I know we got a lot of requests in here we got to go through, but I feel like we could probably do I'd like to talk to that team, and maybe we should get them on here just to understand a little bit more about the go-to-market and, the US and how that works. And I mean, it looks very Coinbase-y to me. And I'm just wondering like why that is. And, the credit card aside or debit card aside, having the token on top of it is kind of interesting. And it also, I'm just kind of off the top of my head, it's kind of interesting, just not to digress too much into like a Coinbase, but someone like a Coinbase going public versus Coinbase creating a coin, and like thinking through that a little bit and why potentially that may be. And they're going more traditional route. It looks like they're the custody layer underneath some of this stuff still, and they're becoming infrastructure in a different way. It's just, that's an interesting thing. And so maybe the Swipe team has some insight into that as well, but it's just cool. Like, I think it's a very simple like UI, and I really like it. But even like the recent transactions on the UI look just very similar to Coinbase. So I don't know, we'll have to investigate further.
Yeah, and I'd say it again, if you can even say Coinbase and Swipe in the same sentence, this is $189 million market cap.
No, yeah, it's like insane. So, insane.
Crazy. Next thing, we had a request, which I thought was funny. They said something along the lines of, can we have a different kind of coin than you usually cover? Can we cover Digibyte? And kind of funny because I think we've covered Digibyte a lot this year because it's had a lot of standout activity. Just looking at the price, not so bad. 425.56%. It's even better than what you get at like Bank of America or Wells Fargo, apparently, like 0.05%.
Yeah.
But what we've seen here is the community really grow. Publicly, we're only showing a year for now. We'll be adding longer time horizons as we move forward. But this community, when we look back a year, daily individuals posting were like in the hundreds. 115 on August 30th. If we go to the high here, it's hard to tell at the scale that we're at, but from that to 3,755 individuals posting. If I just move back, I want to see like 6-month growth, and I want to show social volume. Again, hard to say, okay, well, maybe it's going down, but it's actually not. It's just kind of trending at a really high scale, but it's up 56.4% at a high level. So I'm super bullish on this community. Every time we've ever posted something, we've almost like internally we're like, watch what's going to happen. Like they all latch on and support the project. And so respect the Digibyte community a lot for that, because every one of them, like I've seen like one of the founders, Jared Tate, when he posts, there's hundreds of likes on his stuff. There's these like Digibyte like sharing teams and awareness teams, and they've got it down. So super interested in this project. Again, not just is it going to go up or not in price, but how they support themselves, the memes they create, the viral content they create. They've done a great job. So
yeah, they're fun to watch.
We salute them. Good job.
Slight outperformance of Bitcoin there in the last 6 months as well.
Yeah, little bit. It also beats all those staking returns of 6 to 8%. So
right.
Safe Haven. So this was a request. Who requested this one? Someone, which I can't find. We were just chatting on our Telegram channel, which, by the way, everyone, we're on Telegram. You should check it out. It's awesome. We have some fun discussions in there at 2 a.m. So Safe Haven, what's really cool about this one is it's focused. It's a DeFi project, and it's something that I've talked about, I think, since I first started investing, going, what do you do when you die and you have crypto? And it sounds like they're focused on they're focused on inheritance. That's one of the things they're doing, which is fascinating, because this is the thing, right? What happens if your wealth ends up being in crypto? And this is a whole topic for another discussion, which, man, I'd love to have them in and talk about that. But like, what happens when you die and you have, $25 million locked into a wallet that your wife doesn't know how to unlock? Or, like, what is that? What happens there? So fascinating thing. And it's up a little bit when you look at the last 6 months. I don't even like, how did it,
I mean, that's coming off of a
fall?
market cap floor, though, like basically nothing. Looks like there's still
Sure.
a little bit of volume, a 24-hour volume, so it's buyable. But yeah, great. I mean, that's just a great conversation for people to have. I mean, if you think about, I mean, a lot of people are losing their Authy account or their Google Authenticator account, and they can't get back in. I mean, I know Coinbase and Kraken and some of those guys have gotten a lot better at account recovery. I mean, I've talked to some people that have had to email Coinbase, maybe 400 times over 4 months in order to try and get back in. But I think there's a big disruption to passing these things on to the next generation, or if something happens, and how do you get access to it and what unlocks that. So if they're attempting to go down that space, I mean, it's just kind of uncharted territory a little bit. I mean, it's, for people that are out there that are using maybe a LastPass or a Dashlane or something like that, and they're trying to pass those things on, it still doesn't guarantee, if you're not clearly letting your significant other know how, to get access to some of these things, they might not know how to do it.
They won't. They won't. And it's safe to say that a lot of individuals don't even want their significant other to know.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
but I mean, it's a rabbit hole of a discussion.
It's true, though.
Because look, like, what could you imagine? Imagine this. Imagine you told your significant other that right here back in April, you're like, I've got it. I'm going to put everything. I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to buy a car. I'm going to put it all in safe haven. They tell you you're probably nuts. And they'd say, you're kidding. You're going to lose all your money. And there might be days that you're down 50%. And the next day you're up 150%. And it becomes a really tough discussion to say, man, what kind of strong hands, like, do you have to have in here? What do you have to actually not say to others around you for you to just do it? Because they're going to talk you out of it. So it's a fun discussion, but I'd say, like, it's early still on this one. 27.91 million market cap. Yes, it's up 4,000% from the floor. New projects, DeFi space, but we're talking about the community latching on. Some of that could be price related. Some of that could be activities they're doing to create community. So I'd be curious to hear from them what they're doing. But fascinating thing. And we'll watch this one grow over the next while here. So really exciting. And I'd say
they got a decent community. I mean, what is this, just social contributors? I mean, what social engagement look like?
It's all soaring, all of it. So bullish sentiment.
Wow.
Like, beyond overwhelmingly bullish. I mean, that's insane. And this is like immediately here. The links that are being shared. So there's a little they're doing there.
And how do you know, or do we got to look it up real quick of exactly how it works? I mean, I've just seen on their site, I'm seeing a little bit.
We can do, but like, another thing, like, alt rank over time here done nothing but go down.
Oh, and wow.
That means that it's not necessarily just price moving up. Price would not do that. It's price and social. So it's like a continual thing. And for example, if there was like one big social day, you'd see a huge spike and then it would fall. Like, it'd be nothing, right? And what we see is a continual movement where the lower, when this gets to 1, it's like ridiculous. It's the strongest in the market. And so, like, Polkadot is today. And when you look at this, they're down to 16 and they're a $27.91 million project. So that's constantly lowering. So one to watch for sure. And Unibright. So Unibright, which, let me just pull up here, they connect businesses and blockchains. So they have a framework that lets you build It's an ERC20 token, and it's got their Unibyte platform that, again, gets businesses in the blockchain. Love the idea there. I think our buddy Ryan Calder knows some of the people here. We were chatting with him about that just recently. But yeah, I mean, their community's grown too. When you look at them, so this is the last year. I mean, a year ago, we're talking, there was one day. There was one day with one person talking about this.
Wow.
Single digits. I mean, this is objectively real data. This is the number of individuals. And then we get into like here, 589. Again, still early, $52.6 million market cap. It's up a little bit, 2,434% over the last year. It is down 1.79% over the last 24 hours. So it's a bed of roses. So yeah. I mean, Dave, Stool Presidente would be out of this immediately. It's down too much because he makes hundreds of thousands a day. Yeah, that's another topic.
I did like just to digress a little bit, I did like his comment the other day that was pretty funny. He goes, I'm out of crypto. He goes, because crypto markets go down sometimes. He goes, the stock market only goes up.
And okay, so
which is like my favorite comment ever, because he was kind of making fun of himself, but also just making fun of the state of the economy and how ridiculous all this shit is.
So what's funny here is, so like let's take what you're going to look at to invest in the stock market, and we get this question all the time, like, well, why don't you guys cover stocks too? We could, but the thing is, it's a different, our machine learning libraries catered towards crypto for sentiment, for spam, for really understanding the posts that we collect. So not for the stock market, but the big difference, there's no like quarterly earnings reports in crypto. Like last time I checked, you're not on Twitter bragging about General Electric or Pepsi stock. So not to say that like people aren't really talking about it, because they are. It's just that there's so many other filings and regulatory elements to stocks. With crypto, it's community. And when we say community, it's wallets, it's liquidity in those exchanges. Would you ever buy a coin that no one's talking about? And but you might buy a stock that no one's talking about. You don't even look at that stuff. So this is just different. And the big mistake that Mr. Portnoy made, buying what I think Chainlink at $19 or something, is super high, was that sentiment right around when he came in was ridiculously bullish, like off the charts bullish. Everyone, you could not see a green frog on Twitter every time you're on it. And the crazy thing with that is like when you're buying at such high sentiment and then coming in and acting like, like it's a bit arrogant, to be honest. It's a bit arrogant to go, hey, I can pump and dump this market. And when you've got how much, let's pull up Chainlink here. That's a great segue. When we look at Chainlink, that's this week. I'm going to go back. So let's get straight.
Still here. Having a fantastic month. You can't, that was just, it was getting parabolic. And the only reason that Dave bought is he's sitting there with the Winklevoss twins and getting introduced. And it was somewhat of a like PR ploy. For some reason, those guys live like around the corner or somewhere, probably in Cape Cod, or I don't know where the hell they were, but they walk in there, they're like, hey, let's buy everything at this one moment in time. And so he puts like 75% of it into Bitcoin, which is fine. Like, you're going to be okay. And he's just putting 25% of it into Chainlink at a random moment, right? Like, wouldn't you spread that around, like even over like a couple of weeks? So I think it was just the way that happened for him sucks, but it's also, what was the whole point of them actually doing that? It was, they probably got insane numbers. And at the end of the day, those guys are building vastly different businesses.
I find it funny too that we also had this happen. What was the other thing he was in? Orchid. Orchid's a very small project compared to Chainlink, especially. Chainlink's like almost 6 billion. When you look at Orchid, this is when we saw him like talking about it, and I find it odd. Like, what was he just trading on Gemini only? Why these two? Like who told them
This-
Orchid and Chainlink? I get Bitcoin, but who told them Chainlink and Orchid? And you know what? The 13,000 people around this time on this day that talked about this, it's pretty like, I don't know, disrespectful to like be like, I'm gonna pump and dump this $5 billion project because I feel like it, because I have a lot of followers. Like if you're one of these 13,000 people that's talking about Chainlink on that day, or the, like, I mean, look at the volume here, 50,000 mentions on one day. Like that's people's, like, I don't know, like that's like they're into this. Like this is an ongoing growth. Like there's a community building here, and you just pop in one day and go, I'm gonna run it. Like that just seems like not right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little.
I mean,
strange.
I don't think like he is like the intelligent investor. We're not like, he's probably not gone back and read all of, Warren Buffett's letters to shareholders. And I mean, he recently got into it, which I think has been good for the Robinhood crowd. And it's been good potentially for getting people interested a little bit and getting regular people talking about, the markets. And, you've got a lot of people now that are coming into the space saying, what happens when, the government prints $7 trillion, right? Like they're asking good questions about their finances where they weren't before. So, even if 1% of the people that are following Dave Portnoy get into finance in some way, shape, or form and contribute to the space, I want to say that's a good thing. But I think, it sounds like he's got the money to get burned for 50 grand on Link. So I'm not feeling too bad for him. So, but he's got to be a long-term hodler, man. He's got to get stoked.
I don't believe anyone that shits that hard on crypto in their tweets after being in for like 3 days. I almost don't believe them. It's like I don't believe that Peter Schiff doesn't own any Bitcoin. I don't believe you have the same exact narrative as gold and go, oh yeah, like Bitcoin sucks, gold is it. Like it, no, I don't buy it. You wouldn't spend a second even talking about it. There's no way. So just as I would say, when you dump all over Chainlink, you're probably buying it, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll find out. Chili's. We had a request for Chili's in here. Wait, are they asking when Moon on Chili's?
I don't know. I don't think it's when Moon on Chili's, just when Moon in general. Like Dave, I don't know. Jeremy's asking when Moon, and he's got the Pepe Toad emoji going.
Well, I mean, Jeremy, the moon's out every day, night. I mean, sometimes if you wake up in the morning, it's still out. But we hope that in crypto, it's what do you think, Joe? Next Tuesday, Wednesday?
What? That's the moon.
The moon. I don't know. Is there a specific day for the moon?
I don't know. I mean, if you're holding some of these DeFi projects, I mean, it's basically every day has been a moon for the last 6 months. So I don't know. I'm waiting for like a big afternoon Asia market move up overnight, start waking up in the middle of the night and seeing everything pumping. I feel like, we're probably getting back into that cycle a little bit. I think that big dump in Chainlink, I think scared some people. I mean, it definitely scared some people. Especially, how it's just, you have to expect that, but it's still kind of a scary, you're like, well, how low is it going to go now that we've had a couple consecutive days of losses versus thinking that we were just full on bull market. You always see people when the market starts to move up for a week, every tweet comes out that says, as you prepare for the next bull market, don't buy on credit cards, don't whatever. And it's like, I don't know if that's like, is really helpful for the space versus saying, a slower sustained growth is a solid thing. If you're going to be in this thing for the long term, and everyone's got to remember what their investment horizon is. I mean, especially people in crypto. I mean, I'm assuming the average age is probably pretty young, and I'm assuming that a lot of people's investment horizon is like 30 years, and the time value of money when you're looking at that, and the difference between even like an 8% a year and 12% a year could be, millions of dollars. So just kind of pay attention to what you're doing and keep an eye on some of the DeFi stuff. I mean, it's not all going to survive. It just can't. There's not enough space. And it's going to take time to materialize.
What do you think happens when some of these DeFi projects fail and they have your money? Where do you go?
It's like Steve Bannon. He's going to build the wall, but actually just buy a yacht.
And like, I mean, custody is a thing. Like with DeFi here, like, I mean, if I'm giving someone my money, like for example, like say take like a Tezos or something, where it's still in your wallet, you're staking, you're making 6%, and there's multiple other coins like that. Like with DeFi, I'm like, I could be giving you my money. I don't have it. I get these returns, but it's like locked up.
Yep.
And then what if the parent of this thing fails? Like this is, no one's going to want to talk about this because everything's really good right now. These projects are all really way up. But what happens when, as we find out, I can't even remember which project it was, so I'm not going to name it, but there was one that like the staking pool was 75% of the founder had 75% of the pool for voting, for governance. Like the founder could basically be doing whatever they want and running the governance of that thing. That's completely centralized. So what happens when these things fail, and what happens to trust? And all of a sudden, if something blows up, it takes one to really do a big blow up to poison the space, even from a brand perspective. So it doesn't even mean
you mean like
wrong.
The DAO?
The DAO, way back, the original DAO. Yes,
yeah.
the DAO, which we both had money in. Remember that?
And, that's one of the first ones.
Yeah, and I remember we were like sitting in a meeting. And I go, "Oh, dude, there's this new thing called the DAO. We got to get in it. It's going to be like the new world is going to be built on it. It's like the new way a company is going to be." And then what happened? Like 3 days later, it got hacked. Yeah. And I think we got some back later on, and like it was like a nightmare. I think I got some back through, was it Kraken or something? They had some form you filled out, or I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like tiny.
Yeah, but those are the mistakes you make along the way. It feels like a lot of DeFi is there. They're not thinking of scalability. There's going to be a reckoning at some point, but a few are going to just be enormous. And I would tell you, when I come back to when we say enormous, it's not just so much who has the most holdings. It's what is the community getting by? Like, what are they getting behind? And when we look at our alt rank, it's not looking at it once a day. It's looking at this. I mean, we're looking at this every single day, all day. And I can tell you, when we do that, we're seeing a lot of the same players consistently come up, meaning they have a really, really growing community. So like Aave, we see Aave in here all the time. We just added Yearn recently. It's in here all the time. Acropolis, it's in here all the time. Like Compound, see that again all the time. Like XDAI Stake, which I think someone wanted us to cover, so I'm gonna go in there. This one, I think we just recently added it too. Yeah, we just added this project as well.
Wow, look at that candle.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, right?
Wow.
And that time we had, it's still low. It's still a less than sub $40 million project that has been up 683%, again, from like very little. There's a few million to up to 40. But you have 549 posts that talked about it on that day, and the engagement's doing well over 1 million. That's really good. The contributors also moving up. I mean, these are still triple digits. This has a long ways to go. So if they execute, the community is already supportive. So I think as a general thing, though, I would say, like, great, this project's awesome. It might always be awesome. But as some of these inevitably fail, does it tarnish the brand of all of them? Would be the question. So I'd be curious where this all nets out. Some are incredible. This is a great project. And so I just wonder what exactly happens as honesty and prevails, and as these things stop moving up 4,000% in 3 months, what happens? So be curious to watch the space for sure. One other thing I wanted to mention, because we were talking about Chainlink. Chainlink's not alone. Band Protocol, also into Oracle's, up 3,000%. This is
decent 6 months.
Is this since March? Yeah, 6 months. So again, moving from nothing.
That movement looks like it didn't take 6 months, though. I mean, that looks like it's happened, unless those were some super small numbers at the beginning there.
Oh, this is over. I mean, we could go back to 3 months, and we'll see. It's really the latter half.
Okay, really, yeah. So those were some smaller numbers.
Month. It's really the last month, 200% of that, and I'd say it's probably the last month and a half to 2 months we've had that move, and so I'd also say Zap is in there, which, man, we need their logo. I don't know what happened, but this is another one. It's up in 6 months, 2,300%. And so these are all both in the Oracle space, and they're up probably because they're a baby Chainlink, or there's a variance of why they're better or whatever it is, that marketing message, but they're in that space. So it's interesting when you back up and go, what does the macro picture look like for oracles as a sector? Because now we're talking almost like the stock market here. As a sector, the Oracle sector of crypto, the community is super bullish. And so when you look at like an investment in that sector, if the entire sector is up this much, there's something to look at here. It's not just a hope and a prayer. It's not someone that you respect on Twitter tweeted with a triangle on a chart saying it's going to go up. There's a sector play here. And so you have macro conviction moving into these projects as they execute. You're still talking a $42 million project. Band is still a $230 million project. I mean, these are, if successful, these are 20, 50, 100 Xers if they go.
Right.
Even Chainlink, this is a $1 trillion market, what they're playing in. So everyone thinks, well, Chainlink's already high. No, it's not already high. Not even close.
You heard it here first.
You did hear it here first.
Jocelyn wants a price prediction on Polkadot. What's your price prediction?
Jocelyn, what's your price prediction? How high is it going?
Cali Ground says 200 easy.
200. What is that market cap? I need someone to do some math. If it hits 200, what is the market cap?
Yeah, it's so new. We don't even have a market cap.
Wait, David Gokhshtein wants Gokhshtein token. Look at that. That's like 1,000x. Wow.
At least 1,000x.
I think
gotta launch it first.
Yeah, that's far too low. Maybe we should launch the Gokhshtein token on the LunarCRUSH Oracle through our exchange that we also don't have.
I love it. What else we got on here?
Chili's. This thing, man, we had Joe Grench on here, who's such an awesome dude. Loved talking to him a couple weeks back. I know our advisor Mati is an advisor on this one too. So shout out to Mati. He picks great companies to work with. This is one that this is a social on-ramp into crypto. It doesn't get enough attention, even though it's doing well, and they're executing and they're adding a bunch of teams to their roster. They're basically tokenizing professional sports and the UFC, which we love so much. We watch all the time. We watched Fight Night on Saturday. It was great. So on here, so we have a project that's under 100 million. And if you look at what they're doing, one of the things that really caught our attention here a few months back here, I think it was right in here. Can't even remember where it was. But in here when maybe it was in here somewhere. So small project that's growing. It's new. It's sub 1 year. They're tokenizing teams like FC Barcelona. And, I just want to, let me pull that up just to put it into perspective. So 33.3 million followers. And this is one team. This is one account. All combined, it's probably a couple 100 million followers, one team. But they're coming back to, they're adding many, many other teams that also have their followings. These tokens give rights. They're like fan rights to do certain things with these teams, not ownership, but it's like a utility that guides what they can do. And they have a whole host of things they're doing. They built their own exchange to launch these tokens and things like that. And then they get traded on certain other exchanges. Even last week, I think Coinbase said that they were launching, Chili's was going to be in Coinbase custody, if I recall, which is
more infrastructure for them.
It's more infrastructure, but as we've seen, that is also usually a precursor towards support within the exchanges. So someone mentioned here, Crypto TT says it's PSG and also Juventus, two other small teams. So you could just imagine where this goes. I mean, this is one of those things where someone's going to use it without even knowing they're using crypto, and it's hundreds of millions of people. So there is not another project that I can say that about. So that's why you got to watch this one. It's the social on-ramp into crypto versus maybe Bitcoin being the kind of monetary on-ramp. People come in, they buy Bitcoin, and then they kind of go down the rabbit hole. This is one that it's about fans and having access to certain functions and rewarding them. And so I'm fascinated with this one. I think this one's going to be really, really great. So very cool stuff. Anything else on here that you guys want to cover, or shall we end it?
I don't know. Goxine said he's got his entire army coming.
Let's see.
To watch right now. So, oh, here we go. Abba says, what are your thoughts about Tezos? Feels like a silent giant.
Well, I'm still stuck on it. Goxtine's not coming up in our search. Is our site broken, or is this ticker down? I just can't figure it out. I don't know. Terrible. Okay. So
sorry, Wolfman, you might have missed the dot talk that was at the beginning, top of the hour.
It's still up.
We'll cover it again.
Polka dot is neat. We really like it. We think it's great. I'd post something about it right now. In fact, you know what you can do? I'm gonna go one day since it's been up for one whole day. You guys know you can hit share, right? And when you hit share, it does this magic. It loads for a second here. And there you go. A beautifully formatted chart that you can then hit tweet. And then it actually does this fun thing in the preview, and it does the whole URL, it tags it. And so you can keep tweeting and things like that. I tweet right now, but we've already posted about Polkadot 2 times today. So, oh, there's Goxton again. Man, you're everywhere, David. Let me go back.
I want to pull up Tezos.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to let you cover Tezos. You're a huge fan of Tezos.
You want me to go through it? Well, we followed it for a really long time. We were, probably pre-ICO, we were looking at this, and it's almost like the original kind of governance DeFi play. And they've had a strong community, and I think it's like, it is more of a silent community. And I know people are out there and they're talking about it a lot, and it's a sustained project over time. But you see, I think you've seen some more infrastructure plays earlier on. I mean, there's been some investment banks that have launched security tokens, I know, in South America on it. I do have to follow up on that. I haven't looked at it in a while. But I'd like to see more of that from them. And it seems like they've potentially let, some of these DeFi stuff pass them by, but that could just be because there's a bunch of people shouting from the rooftops right now. And what I can say is that if a bunch of DeFi projects go kerplunk over the next couple of months and the next year, I feel very confident that Tezos is going to be perfectly fine through that. And so it's going to keep rising, and it's going to keep, pushing up when otherwise some of these DeFi projects might kind of be taking the forefront. But look at that social volume over time. It's still moving up, still has a nice kind of little bit more linear kind of look to it versus something that's going parabolic, which is, like we've said since the beginning on Tezos, number 12 alt rank right now, stays in the top 20 to 50 alt rank pretty much consistently. It's a project that has great community, great developers, and a lot of promise. So have always been bullish on this one. I mean, just because of some of the people that I know are developing with Tezos are amazing.
I think what's also really interesting on this one is, Tim Draper, who's one of our investors as well, got in on this way early. He doesn't get in on things that are like pump and dump scams. He had conviction on this one way early, so that actually caught our attention even. But I think what's kind of what's amazing about this, I think earlier we were talking about DeFi, and I mentioned custody is a huge issue if something fails. And if you think about like Tezos, you can buy it, you can put it in a wallet. You own it, it's yours. You can start staking it with the push of a button, any major exchange. Walk out with, I think Coinbase is like the lowest return at like 4%, which is crazy low. But there's reasons for that. But I think on the higher end, it's like 6.5%, something like that. But you literally
it's come down a touch. Yeah.
You get paid. You just sit and get paid. It's sitting in your wallet. So if you think about like crypto diversification, having a diversified portfolio of coins, I want some Bitcoin. Sure. I also want some income so that I can buy more coins or as my portfolio grows, live off of my crypto So this falls into that bucket where if I can just get paid a bit every 3 days and it's enough, eventually you have enough to live off of. And that's, and maybe it's too volatile. So maybe another part of your portfolio is in a stable coin that's getting some interest. There's a number of different things you can do now, but I mean, it's a certain play without the full risk of DeFi, like without, like putting my money somewhere else in a loan, getting a certain higher rate. There's risk involved in that. And so with this, it's very low risk. I get my returns. It is still volatile. It's moved up a lot, moved down a lot, but it's growing. So it's something to watch for sure.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, I think with that, everyone, we did 50 minutes today. We said, I think we were planning on doing 25, so we doubled it. Definitely tune in on Wednesday. We've got UTrust. We've got the team coming on. We're super stoked about talking to them and filling you guys in on that. But do appreciate everyone joining. We'll probably do another post. Maybe we'll do one Friday, maybe Monday of next week. We're kind of just going live when we get a lot of requests and we've seen some cool stuff. So keep the requests coming through. Keep posting, keep getting out there and use that sharing. Get the sharing going.
Yes, agreed.
Thanks, everyone.
Cool. See ya.
Bye-bye.